The Murdoch Mysteries. Please be advised, this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Please always do your own research to come to your own conclusions. Active and Open, Stephen Smith Case, Buster Murdoch Mystery. Coverage and content by Leenda for the Record, Your Honor. The latest updates and rabbit holes surrounding the Murdoch mysteries are here at your fingertips. This case had heads spinning and left many people standing in the end, stuck in the middle, still researching and trying to figure out exactly what is the truth behind this horrible story. I started watching way late into the trial and knew nothing about it prior. I want to go back and watch some footage that I've never seen yet and parts of the trial again to review. One thing I could say right away, because it's unforgettable, was the look on Alex's face when he was to watch played back evidence of him being interrogated in other videos. Lips closed, jaw chopping, teeth grinding, and his face turning red, and he would start to sweat. I honestly can't say, okay, that's all signs pointing guilt. It is all signs of disgust and disbelief as well. It is an unforgettable, uncomfortable situation, and most definitely stressful for any person to stand to be accused of. Whether you think he is innocent or guilty, did the court prove him guilty? Do you think they have proved that he murdered his son and wife? Did they show evidence that he had hired someone to do so? Tell me what you think in the comments below. In my opinion, I think they raised good points and direction, leaning towards Alex being guilty or possibly connected. But do I think they solved the murder? Absolutely not. Just saying, sorry, not sorry. Alex's oldest son, Buster, has been the talk of the true crime community lately as word spreads in the news about a connection found between the Murdochs and the mysterious death of Stephen Smith. At the time, a 19-year-old previous high school classmate. Stephen died under mysterious circumstances back in 2015, leaving his mother with more questions than answers. 15 minutes from the Murdoch hunting lodge and dog kennels where Paul and Maggie Murdoch were found murdered in June 2021 was where he was found. Stephen was 3 miles away from his vehicle, where his wallet was left behind inside and his gas tank was open. Many think that him leaving his wallet behind was a sign that he might have been comfortable and confident that he could just walk down to a friend's house or a neighbor that was in the area to ask for help. No vehicle debris found on the scene or around him as he laid right in the middle of the road. Reports noted loose shoes were still on and intact on his feet, and his clothes were almost as if they were untouched or ripped. At first, L.E. was saying that he had passed to possible shooting to the head. Then the story changed, where a 7 to 8 inch gash was found on his head, warped by blunt force trauma, where obviously there is something that was aggressively made in contact with him. The story had then changed to a hit and run, where it was suggested that there is a chance it was a tall truck and what struck him was the side mirror. But rumors swirled around the town in Beaufort County, and word got back to his twin sister, where she was told the Murdoch boys were behind it. It has been reported that the name Murdoch was mentioned in the interviews and investigations of Stephen's death, totaling up to 40 times. Yet none of the members of the family were ever interviewed or questioned. And on top of that, former LE had come forward with their suspicion and asked what happened to the notes taken regarding Buster as a possible person of interest. Just vanished. But oddly enough, the brother of Alex, Randy, did happen to offer his assistance and lawyer ability free of charge to the parents of Stephen Smith. Why do you think that is? Out of the goodness of his heart, or to help his brother out and protect the Murdoch name and their future generation, his nephew? Buster has recently been headlining in the media, stating that he is being harassed and followed after his father's conviction of murder of his mother and brother. Justice for Stephen is picking up speed and attention among the other 7 cases in question connected to this family. The new evidence linked to Stephen Smith while investigating the death of Maggie and Paul Murdoch and rising suspicions of how this murder was handled by a highway patrol and not Hampton County Sheriff's Office. Side note, highway patrol is either a police unit created primarily for the purpose of overseeing and enforcing traffic safety compliance on roads and roadways alike, not accident and or murder investigations. In June 2021, it had been announced that the Stephen Smith case is active in an ongoing investigation. A GoFundMe had been raised over $40,000 towards a mission to have the body exhumed for autopsy to be performed by an independent party. JLR is still making videos about Buster regarding his father, Alex, and promoting that as if these jailhouse calls were simply unheard and special. Truth is, it's already all over the internet. This is the social media reporter that Buster and his girlfriend Brooklyn have complained and filed a police report about. The phone calls between the two discussed the 2020 special and other media coverage discussing Stephen Smith and Gloria Satterfield on top of the infamous boat wreck. Alex seemed very worried about his image and if people were believing the stories and narratives being played out on our TV screens. Do you guys think it was all connected? Do you think they were friends and someone didn't want others to know? Was it a hate crime because of Stephen's sexuality? Was it old Southern bashing by a group of young boys? Were they hanging out in the truck, holding a bat or a paddle out the window when leaving the lodge home? The family is clearly linked to drinking and drug use, and rumor was that Buster, not usually the troublemaker, was under the influence of some drugs with 2 other boys at the time. Years later, we would find out and learn about younger brother Paul's heavy drinking and partying. But Buster seemed to be a little more unknown to the world. Rumors are big talk in small Southern towns. That's no secret, especially in South Carolina. But connections and loyalty tend to run real deep, embedded in Southern roots. And how come the story changed? Apparently, there is footage out there and noted statements from LE that they did not believe the theory of a hit and run. Actually, there was a couple of them that felt it was more of a homicide and that the body was set in place. Nothing, you guys, nothing was found at this crime/accident scene. A few weeks later, into the investigation, a narrative was set in place and ready to be used and played to take care of business. Patrick Wilson was the name brought to attention. Now, if this is in relation to Chris Wilson, I'm not too sure. And he was someone who testified in the trial that stated their families and their sons were close. This case tip came in from a Daryl Williams. Mr. Williams stated that Randy Murdoch told him to call purposely to pass along some information. According to Williams, his stepson, Patrick Wilson, had told him Sean Connolly, another Hampton County teenager, was driving a vehicle which struck and killed Stephen Smith on the night in question. He then supposedly went back the next day and came across the police blocking the area. He learned from the local news what that was all about and Stephen's passing. Randy apparently had helped cook up a fitting story of a hit and run, manipulating the whole case to remove attention from possible suspicion of his nephew Buster being a future person of interest and focus on one of the other boys that were possibly in the truck. At the time of Wilson's so-called confession, he was then facing attempted murder charges, which were later dropped by the Office of SC 14th Circuit Solicitor Duffy Stone. Stone's office employed Alex Murdoch as a badge-carrying attorney. Stone also followed Murdoch's father, grandfather, and great-grandfather in office. How convenient. Additionally, on August 7, 2015, 1 month after Smith's death, Randy Murdoch filed a motor vehicle accident lawsuit against Connolly on behalf of his client, Christopher Still. Less than a year later, on May 17, 2016, another Murdoch member attorney filed another motor vehicle accident lawsuit against Connolly. Both actions were later dismissed by Murdoch-friendly judges in the 14th Judicial Circuit. Gotta love it. Is it possible these cases were used for leverage? It wouldn't surprise me. Here are some quick information and backstories to fill interesting gaps. Maggie Murdoch. So Maggie was said to be likable and kind, a good hostess, sweet to most, and too good for Alex. That says a lot about Alex, I guess. She attended University of South Carolina, where she met Alex. Later years, her family moved to the Charleston area. It was said that Maggie was depressed and going through postpartum when Paul was born, and that could explain the bond he had with Gloria Satterfield. She was not totally detached, but Paul had shown signs of mental health concerns as a child, according to locals, where Maggie was not sure how to handle and process this. She kind of coded it as if she was in denial and, oh, he's just the funny kid. Or, oh, the boys are just country rough, playing rough. Many locals had come forward to say that the young child, Paul, was notorious for having a foul mouth and would eventually refer to him and his brother as the Murdoch motherfuckers. Real nice. Maggie knew to raise the boys with the shield of the name. She valued status in the community, which is why she never left that county. Her personality tends to not match or mesh well with locals, as she acted as she was above them all. They had money, but they were one of the richest people in a poor income area. So they might have been respected, but secretly were probably not really liked. She obviously absolutely loved Alex, and it was said that she was always lightly bragging about the good life. She did not like living in Hampton, but she did enjoy the pride and respect the family received there. She had friends, but she just kind of, in her eyes and her mindset, they weren't on her level. So who knows how genuine they were. Her mama bear role was to protect their family name and status. Apparently, it was well known that the Murdoch family had public history of generations cheating and having mistresses. Divorce in that family is kind of a no-no, especially with the family being strong and powerful in the eyes of the law and lawyers. So the story that Maggie had visited and met with a divorce attorney, it kind of is 50-50. Now, there's no proof that Maggie was fully aware of the scams and financial frauds, but she isn't completely innocent. She was becoming upset that her checks would start to bounce, and it was making her lose that status and hold she loves so dearly. Did she know Alex was stealing? Did she know where the money was going? How much did she find out? Like his father, Buster, the oldest son, seems to follow in the footsteps, as he seems to be friendly, but all talk just to reap the benefits. These boys were raised in greed and an elite lifestyle, going to parties with adults when they were children, supposedly open drinking. Buster was kicked out of law school for cheating and plagiarism, and he was under public scrutiny in 2019 due to the boat crash involving his brother Paul, and sadly had resulted in the death of Mallory Beach. But we must not forget, Paul used his older brother Buster's ID to get the alcohol. And yes, again, he was never held responsible for even that part of the tragedy. Due to the financial crimes of his father, Buster's assets had been frozen due to investigation and to see if it is valid and in the correct home account. Alex had tried to tell the press that Buster doesn't have money for groceries, but Buster himself, which had been heard on a jail phone call with his father, that money is not an issue. It has been reported that he has a full-time job, and Alex always tells Buster in these phone calls to just see John Marvin. If he needs any money, he'll handle it. Where and how does John Marvin have so much money to throw freely if requested? Why was John Marvin appointed all of a sudden in Maggie's will when originally it was supposed to be her sister? Is the money legit? Is the money really his? Why move money this way if that's what they were doing? We don't know what even happened to all the stolen millions Alex took from his clients. Now, do we believe the jellyfish ball drug smuggling story? I mean, the rabbit holes just keep going and going. So what are the odds that Alex shared and planned a few properties together with a known drug smuggler, creating LLCs to conceal and hide their motives? Jenkins Creek Marine and Charters, LLC, and Jenkins Creek Charters and Property Management were just two of the names that were discovered where Alex is clearly linked to. This is also where there was an inline property that processed jellyfish, as well as two local areas that docked and received. He was not just the registering agent, he is also listed part owner of the LLC and property. What was Alex's real role and need to be involved? 9 were located with river access with lookout potential. Real ideal for an operation. Surrounding the southern style island, easily being brushed off as hunting and fishing family home, where they were also conveniently able to access the US Highway 21. So that's perfect for load up and ready for distribution. Ideally, the absolute perfect place to bring the drugs in quickly and co-owned with Bowler, who is a well-known person in that area for drug crimes. The world needs to also investigate Corey Fleming as well, who is tied in with all the mysteries of the Murdoch files. Jellyfish is actually a delicacy to some to eat. It is a time-consuming process to start the harvest and clean and be ready for completion, but it is also easy to mask other opportunities. Look into Operation Jackpot and you will see all the links. When the LLCs were liquidated, they were handed over with an odd circumstance of requesting no suing previous partner Alex Murdoch. We keep going. This case has many avenues to go down. Alex might not have been the smartest skilled lawyer in the family or firm, but he knew how to manipulate the system and cover his grounds in his dealings. Even if he didn't murder his wife and son, he still did horrible, bad things. Some think while sobering up and going to rehab, he might have changed as his true inner self has emerged. But we can't forget the urge and the greed was already there before the blaming of his drug addiction to alter his ego. So which rabbit hole should we go down? Will there ever be justice for Stephen Smith? Will the truth ever come out? I sure hope so. I'm Leenda, and that's For the Record, Your Honor.